Low at half forward. There's the siren. It's all over. Ormond premiers for 1985, and there it is. On the scoreboard, 28 and a half minutes played. Ormond 16-14, 110 have defeated De La Salle in the A section final. 14-11-95, a 15-point win, and who would deny them that? And the Mike McArthur-Allen surrounded by well-wishers down there as the Ormond players.
Walter Barnes has both the cups. There they go. The happy man. It's his third time he's done that. Three-point victors, and there's Russell Barnes' his victory speech.
My memories were, look, it's fantastic. It's a fantastic time, and you make a lot of friends. And we've got obviously we've got the reunion coming up, and yeah, you don't dwell on the past, but that's what you play footy for, and you play footy to win. And we were just, I think we've got to appreciate how lucky we were to be together as a group for that time, and we're able to keep the group together, and I think that's the secret to being successful over a long period of time.
Very important for the club's history and very important for me personally, because I was appointed in '83, and it's fair to say by halfway through the year my tenure was pretty doubtful. We were 2 wins, 10 losses. We won 5 of the last 6, and so we got somewhere near the 4, and we thought then we had something we could work on. The next year we were runners-up to De La, so they'd won 2 in a row. So '85 was us again, and De La, and important to turn the tables.
The relief of winning the grand final after the '84 grand final, and I personally had a bad day that day. I was given 8 weeks, missed half of '85 season, and to win it was a turning point in my own personal football career and the Ormond Footy Club.
When it all started was actually 1983, when we beat Marcelin at Marcelin, and we were on the bottom, 2 games behind the second bottom side, so really staring relegation down the throat.
You had Barney, and he was very methodical, not to mention the cockroach. Barney was so intense. I think we just came a bit more professional, more than anything.
Marcelin were on top at the time, and we'd never beaten them out there, and we beat them by 12 goals, playing in our South Melbourne Jumpers, of course. Then a few weeks later, we beat De La Salle for the first time in 22 matches, and then go forward to '84, we lose the grand final, and the core, we never actually met and discussed it, but the core of that side, I think, made a bit of a pact not to ever lose a grand final again if we ever got in one. And of course, we got in 5 of the next 6, so which we didn't lose, and there are a number of them where we weren't probably the favourites to win, but we did beat them.
Not only that, De La were going for 3 in a row, and the last club to do that at A grade were indeed Ormond in 71, 2 and 3. So pretty important that we stopped them getting the triple that would equal Ormond's triple. So yeah, that was important. That was motivation too.
Oh God, Mike, yeah. Well, he used half his vocabulary I didn't understand. I think that just half the other side didn't understand the words this long. But no, he's fantastic, Mike. Yeah.
Well, not so much humorous, but a very important factor in the first one, the '85, was that just prior to quarter time, our ruckman, and we only had one, went up for a mark, and the ball hit on the end of his finger and had a compound dislocation. Fortunately, we had a doctor on duty, as we always did. He actually stitched up his compound dislocation, shot him full of painkiller, and he came back on the second half and turned the game around, because we were 21 points down and not travelling too well at half time. De La were well in control of the game.
Oh no, I don't think we partied too hard. I think maybe some of the playing group may have lost some of the hunger, but also we started the season really well, and then the McDonald clan, which was centre half back, centre half forward and ruckman, went overseas for a few weeks, and that sort of, we couldn't cover that, and we dropped off a bit, and never got back into form.
Look, I'm struggling to remember, but we might have lost a few players through retirement. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Nails might have retired, and he's a pretty big hole to fill. I think Chunky might have played another couple of seasons, but we were a young side. Just look, to be honest, I don't really know why we lost 86. You know, we didn't quite get there. You know,
I don't know that celebrated too hard, but we certainly didn't. We didn't apply as much work in preparing as much as we should have, because staying at the same level, you're going to go backwards. We had to improve, and we didn't. We went out in the first semi.
In the second quarter, can I just buy that? Thanks very much. I think the second quarter was the one where we really had to show our true colours. Yeah, the final quarter was good too, but I think that... And I'd just like to do a tap dancing routine. Thanks, Jobbers. Steve McCook over here. Kick the last goal of the match again, Steve.
I'm making a habit of that, and I just love making a habit of playing the finals for Ormond.
Right in front of Danny Corcoran again, you must have loved it.
Well, there's not a sweeter place on the ground to kick a goal, I don't think.
I think then they just wanted to carve their own amateur history, and the club had a triple in 71-2-3, as I mentioned, and they were favourites in 74 and were defeated. So we wanted to leave a stamp, and I know we took each year as it came, but as we started to have some success and became a side that people were concerned about playing, particularly on this ground, we adapted our game to play at Ustwick Park. So we wanted to play a big ground style of football because it was important in September to be able to do that.
Oh yeah, we had pretty good social life in those times. We had great disco. We used to have Ormond discos, and they'd be queuing up outside to get in. Well, they don't have that sort of stuff now, because it's sort of any function at a football club now is prees, because nightclubs close at 7 o'clock in the morning, whereas in those days nightclubs would be closing at 1 o'clock, and you'd come to the club and stay at the club till 1 o'clock, and it was just a fantastic atmosphere. And you know, we were pretty tight, and but we could also play.
I think the 1990, where we celebrated all night, we end up in Nash's butcher shop after the grand. We got kicked out of the Rosstown, end up at Nash's butcher shop, having long necks in his freezer, having a beer with cold dead meat. Right, and then we went on to the Elstonwick, where Steve and I end up a telephone booth. Coppers came across the road. We had to get down, had to go into the police station. Told we weren't allowed. I said, I'm captain of the club, I'm not allowed back in there. Well, you're 4 hours in there. I'm not going to 4 hours in there. And so we ended up going to McKinnon. Got the word it was okay to come back to the east boundary. And, well, that lies the story. I got cuffed and kicked out of the pub. Anyway, I wasn't captain in 1991, but it was a funny day. Yeah.
Look, I think 85 we were never going to lose. We were just driven to make up for what happened in 84 when we thought we were the best team, but Dula performed better on the day on grand final day. And 85, it was just, you know, all the stars aligned, and we just played really good football. And then you go, if you want to go to 87 to 90, look, we had a group of players which were just the best players going around. And
people would say the 90 premiership was the most meritorious because we're playing a very, very gifted collegiate side. But I'd go back to 87 when we were playing Xavier, and they were red hot. They were the best team in A grade, and they had some fantastically gifted players, and I guess we had to work very hard to make sure we prepared well for them on the day, and we did, and we selected a couple of strange selections just to counter Xavier's strength. So both the bookends of the four were outstanding teams. I couldn't split them.
I think Matt Chillett, who umpired for a long number of games, said I think the 89 side was the best side Ormond's he's seen. That year, I don't think there was a negative vibe in the whole club. 90, well, different story. Collegians were a damn good side, but we beat them.
Oh, I think 88. 88 was the best. 88 was the best side in terms of which was the best win. I mean, they're all good. You just love. I just love winning premierships, and that's why you stay in the game now.
Holes are varying. There's the siren. It's Ormond Years in 88. Back-to-back flags. They've done it again.
But the two in the middle of those four, if we'd lost that, I would have been very disappointed, because we were certainly the best side in A grade by a street, and we were the favourites, and sometimes favouritism is hard to carry into finals.
We had a lead up. Like we didn't drink for 6 weeks before the game. I think we had either a Wednesday training or a Monday training or an extra training, and we were a very, very disciplined side. It's it was, for those days it was great, and the Ormond Footy Club deserved it.
I love Ormond, and Ormond's. If I cut myself, I bleed brown and blue, and that's just how it is. And I actually went. We had the bye round 1 this year, and my assistant coach, or reserves coach, and I went to watch Whitefriars versus Ormond, because he's a Whitefriars man and I'm an Ormond man, and we won that day, which was quite good. So
I suppose you can talk the most bullshit, really. It's good getting to see how people are going, what they're doing, and just basically it's just like an old reunion. It's just good.
So yeah, you know that, but that's the hardest thing you do in coaching, is not selecting your side. It's telling the people who missed out that they didn't make it.
Third quarter was a magnificent quarter from yourself.
Oh, thanks, mate. Yeah, I'll tell you this, Dos, I've been at the club for 3 years, mate. This is my third premiership. What more can you ask for, mate?
And I must have loved it, because I coached them for 8 consecutive years, came and worked for the Amateurs for 2 years, and then went back and coached them again for 2 more years. Someone said you're just trying to get long service leave for a 10-year credit.
Apart from myself. Look, to be quite honest, Bear was always a good finals player, but then it's hard to find a person like Stewie Carbone who can kick a goal from 60 metres out post high. The McDonald brothers, they're fantastic. Look, it's just the whole side, really. Yeah.
Phil Merton in the 85 and 87 was an outstanding player, career cut short by work commitments, and the 3 McDonald brothers were just a gift, and they went to school at De La Salle, so it's fair to say we probably pinched De La Salle. Michael Ayton, Paul Forsyth was a much underrated but outstanding player. Paul Shoecraft, who won the A-grade goal-kicking medal a number of times. We had some terrific players. It's very unfair for me to just single a few out.
What does...
Brett Connell, outstanding player, Brett Connell.
very important to me. I mean, the club were quite keen for me not to play at all. And Jude and I just got married, and my theory was I could get hit by a car walking across the road. So if I'm going to go down and get injured seriously, I'm happy to do it doing something that I love, and I love playing footy, and I love being involved in footy, and I love the friendships that you can build, and that's why I'm still involved in footy now.
Well, it is 30 years ago that they first started in '85 to win a premiership again after a decade without success, and where the club is at the moment, it needs to just remind itself that it does have a rich history. And I know current players don't like to be reminded of past success of previous teams, but it's important they know where they've come from. And so I think the club needs to just boost itself and its feeling of worth in the competition by reminding itself of its most recent past glories. And I mean, that's a time that any club would envy, to win 5 A-grade premierships in 6 years. it's still home to me. Although I coached other amateur clubs, Ormond is still my home club.